Hello and welcome to Daily Dose Radio, a 5-minute-a-day podcast studying the Psalms verse by verse, recorded here in the dining room of the Bible Bistro, located in Sharonville, Ohio. Hey there, friend. Welcome back to Daily Dose Radio here in the Bible Bistro. This is your home for organic Bible study, 5 minutes a day, 5 days a week, studying the Psalms verse by verse. So that's all we do here. We just study the Psalms. It takes us about 4 years to go from Psalm 1:1 to Psalm 150. And in that time, we study every single verse in the Psalter. There's so much good material here that it is so good for the soul. It's why this has been the hymn book of the church and of the synagogue for thousands of years, thousands and thousands of years. It is good for us to study the Psalms. And so that's what I do here on Daily Dose Radio. You'll find it only here on Daily Dose Radio, 5 minutes a day, Monday through Friday, 5 days a week, studying the Psalms verse by verse. Today, we're studying Psalm 119, verses 84 and 85. We're in the Calf division, which is the 11th division in Psalm 119. And this I'm calling the Martyrs division, and today you'll find out why I call it the Martyrs division. So far, we've just talked about suffering, personal suffering, affliction, and all of us can identify with what we've had in 81 through 83, that the soul, being weaned off the world and the vanities of the world becomes more and more desirous of God and Him and His Word, God's fellowship through His Word, perhaps I should say it that way. But now we come to 84, and 84, 85, and I guess we could say 86 and 87, really. That whole section there is about the martyr and the cry of the believers down through the centuries who have been persecuted. And so let me read today just the two verses, 84 and 85. How many are the days of your servant? When will you make a judgment on my persecutors? The perverse have dug a pit for me, which is not according to your law. So you'll notice that he says, how many of the days of your servant? Well, here we come to the briefness of life. And when we compare the briefness of life to the overwhelming persecution, the affliction, we wonder, how's this thing going to resolve? How's the Lord going to maintain His glory in all of this? Using me, because I'm about to be done. They dig pits for me. How much longer can I avoid the pits? So how many of the days of your servant? The briefness of life is described just in that. When will you make a judgment on my persecutors? Okay, so now we see his argument. My life is short, and I don't have very long, so maybe you could, do something about my persecutors now. Perhaps you could, execute judgment on them. Yeah, this is the cry of the martyr. This is the place where we hear them cry out, we're being persecuted, we're being killed like sheep going to the slaughter. How long, O Lord? That's the prayer. The perverse. Now you see, he goes from persecutors to the perverse, because the perverse are the persecutors. If they were not perverse, they wouldn't be persecuting the saints, but they are. The perverse have dug pits for me. Not just one, but many. There are lots of pits out there. And they've got pits all over the place, and I'm surrounded by them. And I'm tired of having to watch where I step. Oh my goodness, it's a landmine. It's a minefield. They're everywhere. They've dug pits for me, which is not according to your law. Well, all we have to do is go and look at the experience of Christ Jesus with those in power in his day who just wanted to destroy him. And they didn't care if it was according to the law or not. They just needed to get rid of Jesus because he was kind of messing up their little, house of cards. All right, well, join me again tomorrow. We're going to look at 86 and 87 and continue this thought about the cry of the martyrs against those who persecute them. Join me here tomorrow on Daily Dose Radio. Thanks for listening to Daily Dose Radio. For more fresh and delicious Bible studies, podcasts, books, and more, check out the Bible Bistro online and on YouTube. Join me again next time for Daily Dose Radio.